back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to attempt a first start of the S62 swapped E46. However, before a first start happens, there are some random bits that I need to show you before I hop in and fire this thing up, or attempt to. So without further ado, let's get right into it. These here are some custom heater hoses, which go from the engine to the heater core in the cabin, but these were made using BMW hoses and a random part store hose with BMW clamps and some metal couplers in here. These took some time to get just right. I will show you what I mean. Moving on to the very back of the engine, I'm going to show you where the heater hoses need to go. We have this hard pipe down here and another one up there. See them? Those needed connected to these here and here. Check those things out. It's tight, but they do fit, and they fit pretty nice actually. Okay, so as far as the exhaust manifolds go, I'm using these right here, which these are from an E53 X5 SUV BMW. They originally looked like this. The first thing I did was cut off the flanges on both of them. I then shortened the driver's side and had this 45-degree piece welded onto it. Now, originally, I was worried about these being restrictive. However, I reached out to people with E30 BMWs who have done the same engine swap, and they told me that for a street car, these perform just fine. However, I do plan on going with custom exhaust manifolds in the future. For the time being, this will work, especially for a first start. Okay, so I have the driver's side exhaust manifold installed. You can see it's right there, bolted to the head, and how it avoids the steering shaft. Hard to see because the shop light keeps reflecting, but you get the idea. And then the passenger side, same thing pretty much, bolted up. Plenty of clearance once I weld on another tube to it. And now moving on to the transmission bracket. This is an aftermarket unit made for a 5-speed E46 that I actually modified to work for this swap. I added additional holes into the body of the chassis, and I used two that were existing. And then I just used some spare bolts that I had meant for transmission mounting. And as far as the mounts go, I actually made those using a aluminum mount, and then I bonded a chunk of polyurethane to it. Now, as far as V8 model BMWs from the factory, they tend to use 3 bolts per side of their transmission bracket, so I thought that was pretty cool that this is how this turned out too, as if it was like a factory option kind of thing. Moving right along, if you ignore this mess I currently have, here we have the E46 DME location. This is where the engine computer lives. I put the M5 computer in here, just like factory, which involved modifying this bracket in here. I also did have to modify the DME box itself to clear the relocated DSC pump down there. What we have here are the M5 relays and main fuses and plugs now put into an E46 DME box. I was able to use the E46 body plugs by adapting them to the M5 harness, which are all up there. Originally, the M5 harness was one big wiring harness. I went ahead and I separated all these circuits. I divided them up, and I put them into the locations the same way the E46 originally had them. So back here we have the transmission harness, same as E46, entering the back of the DME box. This one right here is for the ignition coils, and then this one here is the primary engine harness. I wanted to use all these slots in this box so it would seal up like factory once the lid is installed. In order to accomplish this, the entire engine harness of the M5 had to be extended by using some spare engine harnesses that I have along that wall right there. I have loads of them. So in the future, I plan to actually discuss the wiring of how to get this running in this car, as it's actually very easy. It's a matter of a few splices and moving like 4 pins around, and that's really it. The hardest part of the wiring was extending the whole harness, as it is pretty tedious and time-consuming. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I might gatekeep the information of how to get this engine running in this car. Maybe I will charge people money for the information. Or perhaps I will show the kindness of my heart, if there is any, and I will give the information for free. I guess it depends how I'm feeling that day. We'll see. Alright, here we are. The nerves are a little high right now, as this is the first start attempt Let's see what happens here. That just, the sound coming from this car just, that is insane. That is insane. Jeez. And there we have it. The engine now runs and lives in my E46. I feel very excited to drive the car. I feel like the work so far has really been paying off, and I do believe all the time involved is going to be worth it. From the beginning of this video series, there were a lot of people wanting to see the engine just running, and that's it. That's all they seem to care about. When it comes to an engine swap, it's a lot more complex than you would initially think, okay? I did all the boring things first to make that first start more worth it, because I feel like going straight to getting it running, which that could have happened months ago, I don't think it would have felt as earned, if that makes sense. I wanted to work towards something very important to me versus going straight to it. During this swap process, I say to myself jokingly that everybody wants a V8 swap until they have to do a V8 swap, because it seems very cool and exciting, you know, the thought of it, until you're actually doing it. That's why we see a lot of these projects getting abandoned, because people lose that drive, that jiv they have. So yeah, with that being said, part number 9 is going to be some other random bits that I need to figure out, and then hopefully soon enough, the car will be on the street driving for the first time. Hoping you all stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video. Catch you later.